Hello everyone and welcome to free practice 3 for round 13 of the 2015 CRC World Championship in what has been an interesting weekend so far. And what has been a very interesting weekend so far. Obviously we had rain in practice 1, we saw the long runs take place yesterday, and today we should see the qualifying sessions, which is going to make them very interesting because it's most likely that qualifying is going to be dry. There's a 20% chance of rain in qualifying. Whether it's the start or at the end, there is still a 20% chance of it. Which I think is going to make this session, the qualifying today, very interesting. We're almost ready for practice to get underway. The session gets underway at 10:15 local time. As they're all getting ready for practice to get underway. Well, 11:15 local time as it gets underway. We're ready. For the 30-minute session. Here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. And we're almost ready. And we are underway! We have the green light, and it's the Speed Tech who opens the session. Actually, it's a D-man at the front of the queue. It's Lucas Quintanilla who's actually first out. As he heads down the back straight into Lecom. But it's going to be a very interesting qualifying session today. As into Puon, Quintanilla goes, obviously, at the start of this session. I don't know what sort of times we should expect today. I think the pole times should be in the 1:47s, maybe. Obviously, this is the longest track on the calendar. As Quintanilla heads down the pit straight up towards the Lassour's hairpin. Down the hill up towards Aruges Agindana behind of Kieran Hardy. I think DMAS should be good this weekend considering the fact they're using the YRT engine. down the back straight into Lecom. And into Rivard, now on the exit of Rivard. Doesn't use the curb on the exit. Now heading into Puan. Into Fangya now. Using the curb on the entrance. Using the exit curb. Now into Stavilo, where lots of people were having problems yesterday. No problems today. Oh, a little bit on the curb there. For Lucas Quintanilla. Almost spatting out wide. Into Blanchimont. Into the bus stop chicane. There's two as Hardy does get through at the bus stop, which is kind of compromised Quintanilla's slap a little bit. 51-1 for Quintanilla, despite having to open the door. Alex Morse's traffic head on his first run. Woodessi's got a clear run though. Hawk's gone to the top on a 49.4. That's her fastest time this weekend. She's not really had a very good weekend so far. I mean, Dork's race pace didn't look good yesterday. As Esley heads into the bus stop chicane. And across the line goes Will Esley. A 49.4 for Will Esley. Milner actually beats him. Shows maybe Esley had a bit of traffic at the beginning of the lap. Both Yanata Rokas still got something. They've Masterforce now at the top. I think maybe at the beginning of SC's previous lap he may have got held up. No, he wasn't held up. That's interesting. To see Milner ahead of Essley, and this is a track you'd expect Yanata to be extremely dominant. Essley's pitting at the end of the lap. Alex Moore's done a good lap at the moment. A lot of oversteer going into Fangya. Down on his previous best. And he's going to pit at the end of the lap. But it's interesting to see what we should see in terms of strategy. Whether it'll be a 2-stop or a 3-stop. Because they say if they can make the tyres last, then a 2-stop should be possible. We've got kind of a bit of a lull in proceedings. But one team that had a better session yesterday, as Coombs has gone 9th. One team that had a much better session yesterday was Coombs GP. Which was, I mean, they did have a very good, a much better session to be both in the top 5. Easily the best session they've had in a while. Miller on top ahead of Esley, Hawk, Alex Moores, Bullwin, Buchan, Tewson, Woodward, Coombs and Hardy. But a lot of people are saying we are still looking at a 2-stop tomorrow. Where things could get very interesting if it is a 2-stop, where the people are going to have problems. Maybe some people may have to convert to a 3-stop at last minute. He's just exiting the pits. The car ahead, but shouldn't cause any problems. Daniel Phillips. I think Phillips could possibly be pitting at the end of that. Actually, no, I think he's actually, yeah, he's pitting at the end of that, so it won't be any problem. There's a speed take ahead as well. He's just going out on track, so it shouldn't cause any problems. Jones hasn't set a time yet. Phillips pits. Let's see what Essie's capable of this one. He's got the speeding ahead, it shouldn't affect him. Down the straight goes Esley. It's up on his previous best. Into Rivage. He might actually catch up to the speed tech on this lap. Doubts it though. It's Elliot Everson. A lot of speed he took into pull on that. He's down on his previous best actually. He's got a clear lap and everything. He's not being able to beat Dan Milner. That is interesting. But let's see how this final sector goes for him. Doesn't improve him, and that was a clear lap and everything, and that's very interesting. It's lagging whenever I change driver. So Dan Milner still topping the session. So this is very interesting to see, because we saw this in Austria. We usually see an Asaruka sandbag on a Saturday. We saw in Austria Milner that was fastest, and then came qualifying, bam! And he got a yellow out there. Something happened at the Fangya, and that was it. Is that a Asaruka involved? That was Esli, and Esli spins it, going into Fangya. He's making a lot of mistakes this weekend. Here's Esli. He's looking a little bit unsettled this weekend for some reason. I mean, he's got a lot of pressure on him. I saw Alex Moore's on track, I think. Here he is. Let's see what he hasn't actually had a proper clear lap yet, has Alex. Let's see what he's going to be capable on this lap. We did see this where Milner topped the session in FP3 in Austria, and then came qualifying, bam, Asaruka front row. Easily. Across the line goes Alex. D-Man exiting the pits. Oh dear. He gets out of the way luckily though. And it doesn't compromise him at all in terms of speed. He's 2/10 down on his previous best in the first sector. Let's see how he gets the second sector. that's where you can gain a lot. As he heads into Fangya. Looking a good lap so far from Alex. If he's able to make up those 2/10 in the second sector, I doubt this is going to be a good time in terms of the actual order. Here is Luke Julian, obviously participating in his second CRC race here at the Red Bull Ring, or here at Spa this weekend. Done a decent lap as Luke Julian here. 10 minutes to go. Jones has gone up into 5th. Down into the bus stop chicane goes Luke Julian. Across the line. Doesn't improve him from 19th. CGP are struggling a little bit this weekend. Still looking at Lucy, seeing if Lucy Wood was going out on track, because she has looked good this weekend. Well, what's going on with Dina? They're down there in 23rd and 25th as Dan Phillips starts on that. 24th now, someone's improved. Why Quintanilla's so... Well, Quintanilla's up in 13th now, I didn't notice that. But Dan Phillips down there in 24th, that's lower than you'd expect him to be. Let's see how he's going to get this lap. As Phillips heads into Fangya. Into Puon. In that black and green D-Mad. Decent lap so far, but he understeered going into Paul Frere as a result of that curb. Now into Blanchimont. Into the chicane. Across the line. 19th, that is. Kunfi are not having a good session, but their race pace looked good yesterday. Essie's on another lap, but still unable to get any faster than his previous best at the moment. I mean, all credit to Milner for doing a lap that was that fast, but it is quite odd. I mean, it's only 0.08 of a second, but that was must have been quite an impressive lap there from Dan Milner to be able to be faster than a Yanata Roca. Here's Tucson, he's got a couple of cars ahead. Five minutes left of the session. There's the cars ahead from Tucson's pits. Alex Moore's out from track, but he's forced to move over for the tow. With the blue flags. And he actually spins his car. I think he did that deliberately because then he could... And he's lost his front wing. So, I think he was doing that deliberately so he can have a clear lap. But now he's actually lost his front wing, so I doubt he's going to set another time. But this is fascinating to see this session, to see the fact that Essie's unable to improve and get any faster than Miller. I mean, yes, we don't know where the Yanata Roca are just sandbagging before qualifying. They did this last week in Austria. They could still be they could be a second ahead of the rest for all we know. So they did this last week in Austria. But regarding the rest of the season, I mean, there's lots of back-to-back races, like blocks of back-to-back races. This means I can tell the rest of the season is just going to go quickly. Yellow out there somewhere. And this is why the rest of the season I think it's going to go quickly, because all these back-to-back races we have. Brief yellow there. I mean, we've had Austria and Belgium, they're back to back. Then we have Italy, which is standalone. Then we have Singapore, Russia, and Japan, which are all back to back. Then we have USA and Brazil, which are back to back. And then obviously we have the finale 2 weeks after that. Yellow out there again. It's a big one. See what Luke Julian can do on this lap. As he heads into Puan. into Fangya. Reasonable lap from Luke Julian so far. He's 2/10 up on his previous best. A minute 12 to go. And into the final corner goes Luke Julian. 19th, that puts him. We've got 20 seconds left. 20. Essie's not going to get another lap in, is he? The session's about to draw to a close. Here's Matt Coombs on a lap. Of course, Matt Coombs is going to pit at the end of that. But of course, what actually CRC are going to try to do is to be able to make it coincide with F1 again next year, like the way they were able to support F1 before 2012, most of the time. But CRC might be able to do that next year. I mean, we did hear CRC is going to have a new site next year, obviously to celebrate their 20th year. This is obviously 20th season, but 20 years of CRC. Wow, it's been such a long... So much has happened in the time, haven't we? Since the 96, where no one even travelled to the races, they had to use an integrated online system made by a different company onto the Grand Prix 2 game, where I mean, the thing about CRC is they've all travelled to the races all the time. They've travelled obviously since the first championship. There are 3 teams here that have been there, that were there in the first year, and they are... session has come to a close, and they are Yanasaroka, Dork, obviously they were in their Lamborghini days. It's Dan Miller who's ended up fast on a 49.4. So I was saying there were, and also RTS as well. Chanzel Hawk actually was really close to SC as well. So this indicates we could have quite a close qualifying session, but we have no idea about Yanasaroka's pace. As the session has come to a close. And what was a very interesting session, but celebrating 20 years since the first year in 96. Like, remember the first year. I remember back to the first race that we had in Australia in 96. So many issues occurred because online racing wasn't really a thing. It was actually only an integrated thing onto the Grand Prix 2 game by another company. It wasn't actually meant to be there. But the way that on the reconnaissance laps we lost the pole sitter on the way to the grid, who had to start from the pit lane, who had to We lost the pole sitter on the way to the grid. Luckily, we were able to get him back into the game. We lost the pole sitter, who that day was Mike Varner in the first race. We lost the pole sitter, obviously Fiona Roca, and we had 12 drivers we lost half the field in the first race due to disconnections. We lost, I'm not even kidding, we lost half the field. And then, now look where we are now, with obviously using R Factor 2, where connection's never really a problem anymore. Obviously, 19 years later with R Factor 2, obviously the league has come so far since then. Anyway, thank you very much for watching practice 3. We'll see you later for qualifying. Got classics coming up after the F1 practice, but we'll see you later for qualifying. Goodbye.